I was talking to a bunch of people about recreational properties, a bunch of rural land people that sell farms and ranches and recreational properties. And in Texas, there have, over the last 25 years, there's been about three kinds of buyers. For a while, there were rich lawyers that, and then we had tort reform and took all the fun out of being a lawyer. So there aren't any rich lawyers left. And then there were rich doctors. And then Medicare reform came along, and I haven't heard about a rich doctor for quite a while. And so there's could be doctors sitting in on this call, and they know what I'm talking about, because maybe you're a cardiologist, got into the business in the 70s, and that was a good business to be in back in the day until Medicare reform came along. And so another cardiologist that's 20 years younger walks into the same neighborhood and says, I like this house and I like hanging around my doctor friends over here, but how in the heck can you afford this house? And the answer is, well, not based on the compensation I'm getting from Medicare today. So what that leaves to me, the principal demand driver for recreational property, and that would also be properties in Bernie and around that part of the hill country. A lot of that's oil and gas people, and they're not going to be buying anything right now. In fact, if you work that kind of market, you might find some properties coming into the market. I mean, when I mentioned that earthquake went off on the 17th and 18th of March, people were having to sell everything. They were having to sell gold. They were having to sell treasury bonds. They were forced to sell stocks. They were forced to sell bonds. The only thing that a person couldn't sell that day is any real estate. Real estate, you can't push a button and sell it. So that ranch or that $1 million house out in Canyon area there is still sitting there, but that owner is probably looking at that like, man, if I could have sold that for what I got in it, I wouldn't have lost $200,000 in the stock market when I got a margin call 2 weeks ago. So I'm guessing there could be some property come on the market from people that you might not expect that are deciding, I need the money.
Yep, that's a great point. And we've had several questions that have come in while we're talking, just asking about, what about properties on the coast? What about farm and ranch properties? And I think you hit the nail on the head. Some of the discretionary spending in the second home market, especially when it's driven by oil and gas, which a lot of it has over the last 5 years plus, especially in Texas, might be hit quite a bit harder than any of the rest of the market that we're seeing.